Psychopath versus sociopath. Two words thrown around constantly, used interchangeably, but to a forensic psychologist, they are worlds apart. Welcome back to MindCrime. Let's clear this up once and for all. Pop culture treats psychopath and sociopath as synonyms for dangerous. If someone is cold, calculating, or violent in a film, they get labeled as psychopath. If they are explosive and unpredictable, sociopath. The words have become interchangeable in everyday conversation. But in forensic psychology, the distinction is precise, and it changes everything about how we understand, profile, and catch offenders. Here is the first thing to know: neither psychopath nor sociopath is an official clinic diagnosis on its own. Both fall under a broader category called antisocial personality disorder, but they're not the same condition, not even close. Let's start with what they do share. Antisocial personality disorder is the umbrella. Both psychopathy and sociopathy live beneath it, defined by a persistent chronic disregard for the rights of others. The core traits they share include lack of remorse, chronic deception, and disregard for social norms. Both involve manipulation of others, absence of guilt, and exploitation for personal gain. But here is where they diverge: their origin, born versus made; their behavioral control, calculated versus impulsive; and their empathy, absent entirely versus selectively present. Those differences are everything. Psychopathy is neurological. It is biological in origin. The brain's amygdala, the structure responsible for processing fear and empathy, is structurally different in psychopaths. Reduced gray matter, diminished emotional response. This is not something that can be taught into existence or traumatized into existence. The psychopath was born with a brain that simply does not process emotion the way yours does. And because of this, psychopaths do not feel emotion. But here is what makes them extraordinarily dangerous: they have learned to mimic it. They study emotional responses in others. They learn the patterns. They replicate charm, warmth, grief, affection, all as a performance with nothing underneath. From the outside, they appear completely normal. That is precisely what makes them so dangerous. The most studied psychopath in history illustrates this perfectly: Ted Bundy. Bundy was charming, educated, and handsome. He worked at a suicide hotline. He volunteered in politics. He used a fake arm cast to lure victims, exploiting the human instinct to help someone who appears vulnerable. He represented himself in court. He flirted with the jury. He understood exactly how to manipulate every room he was in. When psychiatrists interviewed him, they found no remorse, no emotional depth, no genuine feeling beneath the performance. It was all just a mask. A textbook psychopath operating in plain sight for years, because no one could believe the charming, normal young man in front of them was capable of what he had done. Sociopathy is a different story entirely. Sociopathy is forged. It is built through trauma, abuse, neglect, and environmental chaos during critical developmental years. The brain can change, and sometimes it changes in dark directions when a child is subjected to sustained harm and instability. Unlike psychopaths, sociopaths can experience emotional extremes. They feel things, sometimes intensely. They can form genuine attachments, but usually only to a very small select group. Everyone outside that circle is to them disposable. And their behavior reflects this. Sociopaths struggle to maintain consistent employment, relationships, and emotional composure. Their behavior is reactive and explosive. They are not the cold, calculated operator. They are the volatile, unpredictable one. Let me put this side by side for you very clearly. The psychopath is cold, calm, and calculated. Every move is planned in advance. They are often high functioning, holding jobs, maintaining relationships, appearing to the world as a perfectly normal person. Their emotional displays are mimicry, zero genuine feeling beneath, and they are rarely caught in the act, precisely because of how methodical they are. The sociopath, on the other hand, is volatile, erratic, and reactive. They act on impulse and rage. They struggle to blend in consistently. They may feel genuine bonds with a smaller number of people, and they leave a trail of evidence because impulsivity is not compatible with careful criminal behavior. One hunts with a scalpel, the other burns everything down. Both are dangerous, but in entirely different ways. And understanding which you are dealing with is fundamental to how you profile and investigate them. In the 1970s, a psychologist named Dr. Robert Hare developed what became the gold standard for diagnosing psychopathy. The Psychopathy Checklist revised, the PCLR. It scores 20 specific personality traits on a scale of 0 to 2. A total score of 30 or above qualifies as clinical psychopathy. The traits assessed include things like glibness and superficial charm, grandiosity and inflated self worth, a parasitic lifestyle where the person exploits other for financial or emotional support, and a complete absence of remorse or guilt. This checklist is used worldwide by forensic psychologists in criminal proceedings, parole evaluations, and risk assessments. Here is something that surprises most people. Research suggests that approximately 1 in 100 people meets the clinical threshold for psychopathy, and the vast majority of them never commit a violent crime. Instead, many of them thrive in corporate leadership, where decisiveness without emotional interference is an advantage. In law and politics, where persuasion without personal investment creates powerful negotiators. In surgery and medicine, where staying calm under pressure and remaining emotionally unaffected by suffering is genuinely useful. The traits that make psychopathy dangerous in criminal contexts can function as competitive advantages in certain environments. This does not make it safe, but it does mean the story is more complex than a movie suggests. That was MindCrime's breakdown of psychopathy versus sociopathy. Every week on this channel, we go deeper into the minds behind the cases, forensic psychology, criminal behavior, and the dark science of the human condition. New episodes weekly, real cases, real psychology, no filler. Hit subscribe, drop your theories in the comments, and remember the scariest monsters wear human faces, and some of them sit right next to you. Mindcrime. I will see you in the next one.